Alright guys, Jameson and Alex here. Today we're going to be talking about the Primordial Beastheart Subclass Option. That's a mouthful right there.
It is, a little bit.
Created by Matt Colville. So, custom class here. If you're not familiar with it, make sure you check out our overview video of how the class works. Otherwise, you're going to be very confused. That being said, if you're new to the channel or the subclass series, what we're going to do is go over all of the abilities gained in the subclass, and we're going to rate it based on its roleplay value, combat value, overall class synergy, based on how the abilities gained in the subclass improve on your base class abilities.
That's correct.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to be entered in the D&D Beyond Players Bundle giveaway.
Because we like giving away free stuff.
Alex, what do we get with this subclass?
We're getting more exploits, more choices. Yay! Starting off with level 3, we have your nature exploits. You're going to get to pick one of 4 options at level 3, and you're going to get to pick another 1 out of 5 options at level 11. But you're only going to get 2.
So keep
total.
that in mind.
Specific to this subclass. If you've seen our Infernal Bond, it's going to be exactly the same concept there. But this one, obviously, you're more nature-y based.
There you go.
Shocker. Starting off at level 3, we'll have, for 3 ferocity, Elemental Shield. When a creature you can see within 30 feet of you takes acid, cold, fire, lightning, thunder damage, you can use your reaction to give the affected creature resistance to that damage type, including against the triggering attack, until the end of their next turn.
There you go.
Fantastic.
Defensive option.
Yes.
Also, we have Freezing Strike for 2 ferocity. You can activate this exploit whenever you take the attack action. The first time you hit a creature with a weapon attack this turn, the attack deals an extra 1d6 cold damage, and the target's speed is reduced by 10 feet until the start of your next turn. The extra damage increases by 1d6 when you reach 5th level at 2d6, 11th level 3d6, and 17th level at 4d6. You also have Sickening Strike for 3 ferocity. You can activate this exploit whenever you take the attack action. The first time you hit a creature with a weapon attack this turn, the target must succeed a Constitution saving throw or be poisoned until the start of your next turn.
The last choice is Wings when I need them. For 5 ferocity. At the start of your turn, when your companion gains ferocity and does not enter a rampage, you can manifest a spectral eagle, no action required, that lifts you or your companion, your choice, to the sky. Target gains a flying speed equal to their walking speed until the start of their next turn.
There you go. Moving on to level 11 options. First up is Lava Geyser for 8 ferocity. As an action, you summon a powerful rush of lava centered on a point on the ground you can see within 30 feet of you. Lava fills a cylinder that is 10 feet tall with a 5-foot radius and forces each creature in its area to make a dex saving throw. On a fail, creature takes 4d6 fire damage and is knocked prone. On success, it takes half damage and isn't knocked prone. Lava then dissolves into fiery mist and fades away. When you reach 17th level, the damage increases to 5d6.
Next up is Lightning Eruption. Just terrifying concepts. A lava geyser and a lightning eruption. Love it.
Wow.
When you hit a creature with a weapon attack, the attack deals an extra 5d6 lightning damage.
All right.
And you can choose one other creature within 30 feet of the target. You can see that creature must make a dexterity saving throw, taking 5d6 lightning damage on a failed save, or half as much as a successful one.
There you go.
When you reach 17th level, both instances of damage increase to 6d6. So essentially it's a chain lightning targeting one additional thing with a 30-foot range.
I'll take it.
Nifty.
You have Plant Prison for 5 ferocity. As an action, choose a creature you can see within 30 feet of you. Thorny vines erupt from the ground beneath the target, which must make a dex saving throw. On a fail, target takes 4d6 piercing damage and is restrained until the start of your next turn. On a success, target takes half damage and isn't restrained. At 17th level, the damage increases to 5d6. Thanks again to our sponsors Hit Point Press and their Fable Makers deck. Omens and fortunes that you can incorporate into your campaigns. It's got books to describe ways to add these things into your campaigns, to add intrigue, plot hooks, all kinds of different ways to utilize these features.
Hey, check out this really weird or intriguing, interesting thing that kind of steer people back towards your main plotline that you're needing to advance a story you're trying to get to.
Absolutely. So guys, make sure you check out the link in the description down below.
Next up is Stinging Swarm for 6 ferocity. As an action, you conjure a swarm of stinging insects in a line that is 5 foot wide and 30 foot long. Each creature in the line except your companion must make a Constitution saving throw, taking 4d6 piercing damage on a save, or have as much on a successful one. The insects then dissolve to shadow and fade away. When you reach 17th level, the damage increases to 5d6.
And then lastly, we have Thunderous Rebuke for 6 ferocity. When you or a companion is hit with a melee attack by a creature within 5 feet of that target, you can use your reaction to force the attacker to make a con saving throw. On a fail, target takes 3d6 thunder damage and is pushed 10 feet away from the target. On success, attacker takes half damage and isn't pushed. 17th level, damage increases to 4d6. So those are all of the options for the nature exploits.
Yep.
But we're just getting started.
Yeah, because that's just what you get for your exploits. There are still more things that you get as far as the subclass. At level 3, you do get Primal Understanding, Speak, Write, and Understand, Primordial, and Sylvan. You're getting two languages. Additionally, you get a proficiency in the Nature skill if you do not already have it.
Who saw that one coming?
We did. I mean, if it would be Nature or Survival, maybe, but Nature.
Level 7, we have Allied Earth. The ground around your companion sprouts with vines and plants that hamper foes. Whenever your companion has at least one ferocity, the ground within 10 feet of them is difficult terrain for their enemies. So, that's going to be fun. Mm-hmm. Get out of that.
Could you imagine pairing this with, like, a druid, too? Just difficult terrain frickin' everywhere.
Or the, what is it, Fathomless Warlock with the tentacles?
Yeah, that too.
Oh my gosh.
Just difficult terrain
nightmare.
all over the place. Just DMs just being upset. That's what all that amounts to. Also at level 11, we have Spirit Stampede. When your companion enters a rampage, they summon the unseen spirits of dead creatures that run wild alongside them. Each creature of your choice within 30 feet of your companion takes force damage equal to your companion's ferocity. Right. And that's when it enters a rampage, it's done, and it's done. There is no other save for that, no other cap on that. Just any time they enter a rampage, each creature of your choice.
Yes, so that's very important.
And it's force damage.
Yeah.
One of the two best damage types in the game, so
for
great.
Sure. Nice little burst of damage on there.
Yes.
Lastly, we have Allied Weather. The weather around your companion answers to your will, battering foes who harm them. When your companion has at least one ferocity and is hit with a melee attack by a creature within 10 feet of them, choose one of the following effects. Attacker must make a strength save against your exploit save DC or fall prone, or the attacker must make a dex saving throw against your exploit save DC or take lightning damage equal to your companion's ferocity. So 2 options for saves on there every time they hit within 10 feet.
Love it.
Very interesting. So those are all the abilities gained in the subclass.
That's right.
Moving on into the rating portion of the video. First up is the roleplay value asterisk, as always. Talking about roleplay value, we're talking about interacting with the world around you, interacting with NPCs, non-combat scenarios, avoiding combat, basically things outside of the initiative order. Not talking about your class fantasy, history, lore, background, that's on you as a player. We can't rate you, but we can rate the abilities gained in the subclass and how they might improve your potential in those role-play scenarios. So, all of that being said,
this part's going to be short.
Looking at the abilities on here, you do get a couple languages.
You do.
And a proficiency.
That's right.
Which is nice, but
fantastic.
It's not much, honestly. And the biggest problem with this is all of this requires one ferocity or multiple ferocity to spend, so you have to either retain ferocity or spend ferocity.
You know where you get ferocity?
Combat.
Frickin' combat.
Yes. So when combat ends, the ferocity goes to 0. It
goes away.
So you cannot use any of those abilities outside of combat, which means you don't have much RP going on in here. So we'll keep this short and sweet at a 1.5 in the roleplay department.
Bingo. So normally when something goes that low on 1, guess where it's going to be focused on? That's correct. It's on the combat side of things. Which again, where more of these subclasses lean. I mean, thinking about Beastheart, you're thinking about like a ranger and a barbarian had a ginger stepchild, I guess, you know. I looked right at him when I said I couldn't help myself. Anyway, you're getting some very good options and a variety of options for the extra nature exploits. Again, my complaint still holds from Infernal as well. You only get to pick 2 of these options, one at 3, one at 11. Yeah, you can change them every time you level up, but you're still only getting 2 of these 9. I would like for them to allow you to replace some of your base choices with some of these as you level up.
That
maybe
would have been
so you can just lean further into your specialization on your subclass.
Right.
You got a combination of giving somebody resistance, essentially, with the elemental shield, which is great because not just you or your companion, you can give it to somebody else to help. Some party sync in there. You've got the choice of getting some extra damage with Freezing Strike, the chance to throw the poison condition, giving you or your companion flying speed. So there's a variety of choices depending on what you want, what you need. They're there. And then a lot of the 11 ones are chances at AoE damage, cleave damage, essentially, with the lightning eruptions. You're hitting 2 targets.
Right.
A chance to do damage and a restrain with the plant prison. The stinging swarm, which is kind of like a breath weapon, as far as, like a line, because it's a 30-foot line with bugs. And then it's a con save. And then the retribution damage, Thunderous Rebuke. So again, there's plenty of options. I like a couple more than others, personally, but there's plenty of options all geared toward the combat. Getting past Primal Understanding, which is strictly RP, about the only thing you're going to get for RP is where things really get fun. Personal preference. Just the fact that, and it's a bunch of passive stuff too, which I love passive things. Because you don't have to worry about, because you have all this other stuff to spend resources with your exploits anyway from what your base class is. So the fact that your subclass is giving you a lot of passive buffs, love it. Allied Earth giving you difficult terrain for your enemies specifically is amazing. Because whenever he wants to come in there and hug, you're like, you're just going to stay in here with me.
Yeah, it's going to get real annoying, especially for things with low movement speed.
Yeah.
Because
they're never getting out of there.
It's 10 feet of difficult terrain, which means it costs 20 feet for them to get out of it.
That's right.
Just to get away. Plus, they're going to provoke opportunity attack if they want to. So they're going to be... It's almost like a pseudo grapple.
Yeah.
Like, it almost makes them stay nearby, which is interesting. They could just try to kill your thing. It's almost like a pseudo taunt.
Yeah,
if they really want to
the old soft taunt. Spirit Stampede, because normally you don't like when your pet enters a rampage because you're not controlling it, at least early on you're not. Of course, then you hit 11, you'll
have it by then.
But so you know when it's coming, you can trigger it, more controllably, and you're going to get some damage for it.
Yeah, you can burst out a decent amount. If you stock up, you can get like 10, 15, 20 ferocity, and then you're just like, all these things take 20? It's like, whoa, force damage.
And it's force damage, and there's no save for it. So
right.
It's guaranteed damage. You can kind of know when it's coming for the most part, once you get to this high of a level. So it's force damage. I'd like to emphasize that. Right. And then we get to the Allied Weather thing, which, for flavor's sake alone, I'm like, oh, that's cool. Because it's like playing with the weather around it, because he's just such a force. He's the goodest boy until you really irritate him. I
just see, like, you got, like, Eeyore as your companion, just a little cloud over him, like, oh, boy.
And his knocking them prone is just sitting down. He's depressed. He just sits down and knocks people over. Or the cloud over his head strikes it with lightning.
There you go.
But Jameson made the correct point earlier, is this gives you the option to attack 2 different saves.
Yes.
Because if you're fighting something that's big and slow and bulky, you're like, I don't know, but common sense says he's probably pretty strong.
Right.
So, but I bet he ain't that fast. So let's try to shock him. Or you got this little thing running circles around everybody as like, he fast, but I bet he ain't that big. So you try to knock him on his butt.
Right.
The point is, you've got a choice, and it's. And it doesn't cost you anything, just as long as you have one ferocity. So basically, as long as you didn't just reset off a rampage, or you didn't spend your ferocity down to 0 for an ability, you've got ways to try to knock people prone or do some extra lightning damage all the time. And heaven forbid you can knock stuff prone, because you're going to start wailing on it as well as any other melee friends of choice. So, a lot of good options. Again, the only real limitation here goes back to the limited amount of nature exploits. You're only going to get 2, which I don't like. Yeah. Again, I wish you could get more of them, and you're still fighting with the same resource from your base subclass.
I would argue you only get 1, because the elemental resistance is just too good not to take.
This is correct. Unless for some reason you've multi-classed out of this and you've got absorb elements to spell, then there's no reason to take it at that point.
It's very good to have that resistance to the damage. Those are very common damages, and to be able to just give that to someone.
And you've got all the choices. It's not like you just get like the Infernal will have you option to be immune to fire and poison damage. This has got all the elemental damages.
It's just very, 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 very helpful in a lot of circumstances. So it's hard not to pick that one.
Yeah, in my opinion. You again, we always tell you, do you, but if you're trying to you're analyzing objectively what the most valuable thing is in most situations, that's your winner.
It's going to be up there for sure.
Because it's going to be more impactful to resist that fireball than to do an extra 1d6 when you attack.
Right.
So we gave it a 4 out of a possible 5 on the scoring. Again, the biggest limitation is primarily you're only getting 2 of these exploits, so you're not getting to really maximize what the options are. And again,
Right.
you're fighting with your synergy a little bit in the terms of you still got the same resource that your base exploits are playing off of and what this does, which gets us over to the synergy side of
Yes.
things.
So talking about synergy, the one thing that is nice is you
One
have
thing. Just one thing?
other uses, and well, we'll get there. Is you have other ways to use your ferocity.
Yeah, you do.
You get a couple, two options to use your ferocity, but also you have your passive abilities, which are very interesting because you're going to have some dilemmas, I feel like, a lot more often than you might think. For
Sure.
example, if you want to do your Stampede, it's going to reset your ferocity to 0. Guess what that means? Your difficult terrain is gone. Your allied weather is gone.
Yeah.
So you have a cost associated with your abilities. You have to always maintain
Yep.
one ferocity. What's also going to be really awkward is when you have, say, you have an ability, a special ferocity action that's going to cost 5, and you have exactly 5.
Yeah.
Now you have to consider, is it worth using that ferocity action and
Yep.
dropping my difficult terrain and my allied weather to use that ferocity action? And I feel like a lot of times, it's probably not. So that means you have to wait to use said action. So I feel like there is going to be some issues sometimes where that comes into play where you really have to weigh the pros and cons. And with how strong the passives are, it's probably not going to be worth it. So you have to really take that into play. And there's a little bit, like I said, counter synergy with the Stampede because it's going to erase your ferocity.
Sure.
So that's something you really have to take part of. But also I think that's a little way to bring some balance into it as well.
Yeah.
So that is definitely very interesting, and I like that dynamic of having to choose, is it worth keeping this to use this? But when it comes to synergy, I feel like it causes some hindrances.
It does.
That being said, these abilities are quite strong, which brings us to a flat 3.
Yeah.
Because there's so much good, but so much potential hindrance, we're just like, you know what? Let's just keep it baseline here.
What really hit my brain when you're kind of going this back and forth thing is it really emphasizes the roller coaster this class is of build ferocity. Do I spin it? Do I spin it? Do I spin it? Okay, I spin it. Now I'm down here. But this does give you something when you spend it.
Right.
Because when you hit the rampage, for example, you're getting something out of it besides just your ferocity is now 0.
Right.
So it does help that valley hit like kind of. That's got a little fun at the bottom of it, you know. You've hit the peak. Okay, now we're in the floor.
Yeah, and then I just lost 2 subclass abilities.
Yeah,
so,
but I got some damage out of it at least.
Yeah.
Like it kind of.
Yeah, it's playing with your emotions.
It puts the Band-Aid on the wound a little bit. Doesn't pour salt in the wound like Warlock and their extra choices of spells.
Don't get
Got him. Just take the knife and you poke it just a little bit deeper. And I think this subclass specifically with this class combination, if you're a mildly masochistic, strategic mind that really likes playing with decisions and consequences and things like that, this subclass and class combo is going to be right up your alley.
Yeah,
because
for sure.
Every decision you make of what to spend your ferocity on, when to spend it, and the opportunity cost of should I spend it, should I not have spent it, and when I did spend it on, was that the right decision at the time between my subclass options and my base class options?
Right.
You might give yourself nightmares, but you might really enjoy
what
that.
If?
Yeah, right.
We wouldn't have had a TPK if I would have just done X.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely interesting. And I do like that dynamic.
Yes.
Because
it does create an interesting opportunity you don't get anywhere else.
When he talks about that kind of player, that is me.
I know.
I want to have like super impact where it's like, what I just did is incredibly amazing or the stupidest thing you've ever seen.
That's right.
And I just love that because I feel like that helps making a character that's flawed to like really dive into that to where it's like you're going all or nothing.
Because and when you're playing D&D or even other RPG type games that involve where decisions have consequence and impact and things, big swings, hit or miss, become the things you talk about way after the session's over. Because if it hits, it's amazing. You're like, can't believe that one time that you did this and it was so incredible. It was great. I can't believe that one time that you tried to do this. It was awful.
We almost died.
We almost died. Either way, it creates great opportunity, and this subclass has got that in spades.
Yeah, so we're big fans of this from a thematic standpoint, if anything.
From without a question, this is my favorite one of these subclasses in terms of flavor.
Yes.
And the choices within.
That being said, let us know your thoughts down below. We have lots to say about
Tell me
everything.
why I'm
That's
wrong.
why we
I don't
have
care.
this channel,
That's
I guess.
right, yeah.
We have lots of things to say about all kinds of stuff.
That's right.
But yeah, let us know your thoughts down below. Thank you again to our sponsors, Hit Point Press.
Woo-hoo.
Make sure you check out their stuff. It's always great, guys. It's definitely worth a look. Check that link out. It helps us
Ruffin
out.
is adorable.
Yes.
I will die on that hill. He's adorable.
That being said, guys, if you enjoyed the video, remember to like, subscribe, hit the bell notifications so you know when our new videos are coming out. And as always, thanks for watching.